So very good evening and so nice to see all of you. So we are very excited today to bring you very important topic for our special needs family. And I welcome from SNIC Rehab Foundation. I'll introduce myself. I'm Harshali Kharche. I'm the managing director and the founder of SNIC Rehab Foundation. SNIC is basically Special Needs Integration Center, we are working on it for Nagpur and special needs inclusive community. So this is our mission towards for the long term. We are based in Nagpur and we are working on various areas like our rehab areas. Our vision is to empower and through that, our mission is to sensitize, educate the society, provide appropriate perspective to the parents about various things like treatments, therapies, approaches, and bring clarity about myths, beliefs, and misunderstanding. So our motto is to set the foundation of the parent's body. Those are capable of providing resolution to challenges faced by parents of children with special needs. So we are here to educate the parents, motivate the parents, and to help the children because we are a parent organization. So we understand the parents' issues in a right manner. We are trying to connect professional to the parents. And for that, we are working on various areas like you are always know that we are working on some awareness programs, parent empowerment, lot of activities we are doing on empowering special needs children that for their talents and the learnings. We have done a lot of things on financial advisory also. Now we are into one of them, the webinar today. And we worked on community support like the mental health and physical health. So, and many more projects we are working. So today we are here with MFA that I'm extremely happy to bring you that our speakers are going to talk about managing family finances for a special needs family. So we are doing this in collaboration with MFA, and our speakers for today, I welcome first to Ms. Chitra Iyer, ma'am. She is the CEO of the MFA, and she has been a strong pillar for MFA since its inception in 2005. So she is a super enthusiastic individual who is passionate to make a meaningful differences in people's lives to write goal-based investing for families. She is also a special need parent and mother of 22-year-old kid Shravan. And she is a trustee and treasurer of Forum for Autism and NGO, you know, and a parent support group for parents of children with autism since 2000. So she has been advocate for right of people with autism and is actively involved in campaign to raise awareness and educate parents, professionals, and laymen all about autism. So we are so grateful to MFA for doing this. Our second speaker for this evening, he is Mr. Milind Shah sir. He is the head planning at Happiness Factory. He is leading the overall product and business strategies function at Happiness Factory. Before this, he spent over 8 years with MFA as head financial planning, guiding high net worth families. He has industry experience of over 24 years in several areas such as taxation, account auditing, and he is certified financial planner and a member of Financial Planning Standard Boards India. He has also cleared the MFA Level 1 exam. We are so fortunate to have a right kind of speakers with us to guide, and our one more speaker with us today, Ms. Shreya Jain. She is a CEO and a founder of Reservoir. After pursuing her dual degree course in chemical engineering, MBA, and from Mumbai, she started Reservoir. Then She is drawing inspiration for her special brother who has autism, and she entered the field of special needs and realized how India lacks the resources for this community. And this is extremely important that we have so many parents and we have very little resources available for this parent. So we have enthusiastic speaker who wants to come in front and work for our special needs community. So I welcome all three of you, and I'll stop sharing and I welcome Ms. Chitra ma'am, Chitra Iyer ma'am, to start with today's webinar.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. Yeah, and thank you to all the families who are attending here today. I have a very strong connection with Nagpur because my father is from Nagpur and I actually lived for a couple of years. So, हाँ.
Okay, great,
मेरा
great.
बहुत बड़ा
That sounds great.
बहुत पसंदीदा शहर है. Yeah.
Wow.
So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having all of us, our entire team, as to present on this most important topic to all the parents. And it's really great to see at least 50 plus people here, especially. And without taking any further time, I just get started with the presentation. आपको लैंग्वेज हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश दोनों में हम बात करेंगे.
Yes,
yeah?
yes.
This is my son Shravan. इसे very very happy child, एकदम बहुत ही खुश मिजाज बच्चा है. And today he's 22. जब हमें पता चला कि श्रवण को ऑटिज्म एंड सेरेब्रल पॉलिसी है, तभी हमने पहले सब पेरेंट्स की तरह जुड़ गए कि क्या करें in terms of all the therapies that are required and कौन से डॉक्टर को मिलें, किस तरह से हम सोचें कि क्या क्या अगला करना है हमको उसके लिए, और उसको किस तरह से हमको इंडिपेंडेंट बनाना है. यही पहला हमारा स्टेप था. और आज मैं बहुत खुश हूँ ये बताने के लिए कि हम लोग श्रवण को लेकर दुनिया भर घूम चुके हैं और बहुत घूमना चाहते हैं. हम लोग डेफिनेटली कंसंट्रेट यही कर रहे हैं कि किस तरह से इसको और इंडिपेंडेंट करें, ताकि वो अपना लाइफ जिस तरह से वो चाहिए, वो चाहता है, वो जी सकता है. और मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट हमको समझ में आया कि वो बताना क्या चाहता है हमको, उसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, उसके मन में क्या चल रहा है, वो हम समझ सकें. आज श्रवण का होम स्कूलिंग चल रहा है, जहाँ पर ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज ऑफ कोविड तो सारे बच्चे घर पे ही हैं, बट हम लोग फोकस कर रहे हैं प्योरली ऑन डेली लिविंग स्किल्स, और हम लोग किस तरह से श्रवण को और भी इंडिपेंडेंट कर सकते हैं, और उसके जो स्किल्स हैं उस पर हम लोग ज्यादा और किस तरह से वर्क कर सकते हैं. मैं यहाँ कैसे आई 2009, जब श्रवण स्कूल जा रहा था, तभी I landed up meeting the founder of MFA, that is Mr. Amar Pandit, when I was reading a book, and वो भी वही बुक पढ़ रहे थे. इस तरह से हमारी मुलाकात हुई, और आज हमको 16 साल हो गए कंपनी को. और जैसे आप देख सकते हैं, हमारा यही काम है कि किस तरह से हम जिनको भी मिलते हैं, जो भी हमारी फैमिलीज हैं, इधर डॉक्टर हैं या कंपनीज में काम करते हैं या खुद का बिजनेस है या सेलिब्रिटीज हैं, जो भी हैं, उनके साथ साथ हमने स्पेशल नीड्स फैमिली के लिए स्पेशल एक विंग सेटअप किया कि हम उनको मदद कर सकते हैं कि वो क्या चाहते हैं, उसके हिसाब से हम उनकी सेवा कर सकते हैं और उनके लिए प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं उनके बच्चे के लिए. हमारा रोल क्या है एक फैमिली के लाइफ में? हमारा रोल इस तरह है कि जो आगे शेरपा खड़ा है, जब आप एक पहाड़ पर चढ़ाई करने जाते हो, माउंटेनियरिंग, जब कोई भी किसी भी पहाड़ पर चढ़ने जाते हैं, तो आपको एक गाइड की जरूरत रहती है कि वो सिखा पाए किस तरह से आपको कहाँ जाना है, कहाँ नहीं जाना है, कहाँ तेज जाना है, कहाँ थोड़ा धीमे जाना है, ये सब एक शेरपा सिखाता है, क्योंकि वो उस पहाड़ को 500 बार एटलीस्ट ऊपर नीचे चढ़ चढ़ के आ चुका है, या फिर हजारों बार, और वो एग्जैक्टली आपको बता सकेगा कि यहाँ पर ना आपको थोड़ा संभाल के रहना है। तो इसी तरह हम हमारे फैमिलीज को, क्योंकि हम बहुत लोगों से मिल चुके हैं, उनके एक्सपीरियंसेस के हिसाब से हम उनको गाइड कर सकते हैं कि आपका जो गोल है, आपका जो लक्ष्य है, वो आपको मीट करना है। तो आप किसी भी तरह की चीज को अपने और अपने गोल के बीच में ना छोड़े, और ये हम उनको गाइड करते हैं कि ये किस तरह से कर सकते हैं। अभी ये प्लानिंग प्लानिंग करके लोग सुन के ना बोर हो जाते हैं कि ये हमेशा प्लानिंग के बारे में क्या बोल रहे हो, इसका मतलब क्या है। इसका एकदम सिंपल मतलब ये है कि हमारे इंडस्ट्री में जब हम पैसे के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो लोग डायरेक्टली इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए भागते हैं कि मैं ये फलाना स्टॉक ले लेता हूँ, या फिर मैं गोल्ड खरीद लेता हूँ, या फिर मैं एक घर खरीद लेता हूँ, इससे मेरा जो फ्यूचर प्लानिंग है वो हो जाएगा। बट एक्चुअली सही तरीका ये है कि आप पहले सोचें कि मैं किस नीड के लिए ये सब कर रहा हूँ, कौन सा ऐसा गोल है, कौन सा ऐसा नीड है जिसके लिए मैं पैसा इकट्ठा कर रहा हूँ। गुड टू सी यू डॉक्टर शाह। डॉक्टर शाह की वजह से हमको ये मौका मिला स्निक के साथ हमको प्रेजेंटेशन करने का। तो थैंक यू डॉक्टर अशोक। गुड टू सी यू। तो प्लानिंग का यही मकसद है कि ये पहला सोचे कि किस गोल के लिए हम लोग पैसा इकट्ठा, हमको कौन से इस तरह के गोल्स हैं जो लाइफ में आने ही वाले हैं, जिसके लिए पैसा लगेगा ही लगेगा, और उसके लिए पैसा रखना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और फिर उसके हिसाब से सोचें कि मेरे पास ऑलरेडी क्या किया है, ऑलरेडी मेरे पास इन्वेस्टमेंट हैं क्या, और हम वो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को इस तरह इन गोल्स के लिए यूज कर सकते हैं क्या। फिर उसके बाद आता है कि अगर मेरे पास पैसा कम है या इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कम है, तो उसके लिए मैं क्या करूं, कि कहाँ से मैं ये पैसा लाऊं, कैसे मैं इसको इन्वेस्ट करूं, या फिर इसमें कैश फ्लोज भी देखते हैं कि आप कमाते कितना है, आप खर्च कितना करते हैं, आप सेव कर सकते हैं क्या, और अगर पैसा बच रहा है तो वो सिर्फ बैंक में रहा बैठा है कि आप एक्चुअली उसको सेव भी कर सकते हैं। तो अगर सेव करना है तो फिर उसको आपने कहाँ रखना है, इसका गाइडेंस पूरा पूरा जो है ये फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग प्रोसेस में होता है। और इसमें प्रोडक्ट्स जो चीज है, जो मैंने आपको बोला कि लोग जाके पहला कोई ना कोई स्टॉक खरीद लेते हैं, या फिर सोच लेते हैं कि मैं मेरे दोस्त ने ये बोला है तो मैं यहाँ पर पैसा लगा देता हूँ। तो ये गलत तरीका है। वो बाद में एंड में आता है कि कहाँ पर पैसा लगाना है, वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है। पहले समझना कि किस चीज के लिए पैसे की जरूरत है, वो मेरे पास है क्या, और उसके लिए मैं क्या क्या करूँ, जो प्रोसेस है वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। प्रोडक्ट्स जो है वो बाद में आते हैं। अभी हमारे जो आज के अटेंडीज हैं, जो सब ऑडियंस है, उनके लिए मैं सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट यही एक क्वेश्चन रहता है कि हमारे बाद क्या। हम आ, हमको पता नहीं कि हम कितने साल जिएंगे, हमको पता नहीं है कि हमारे बाद हमारे जो अगर आपका दूसरा बच्चा है, तीसरा बच्चा है, वो शायद आपके स्पेशल नीड्स बच्चे को संभाल लेगा। आपकी ये सोच हमेशा रहती है कि मेरे बाद कौन इसको संभालेगा, कौन क्या करेगा। ये सोच हमेशा सबके दिमाग में रहता ही है। तो फ्यूचर प्लानिंग का ये मतलब नहीं है कि डरे डरे रहे कि हमारे बाद क्या होगा क्या होगा क्या होगा, ये नहीं सोचती। ये सोचता है कि मैं क्या करूँ इसके बारे में, किसके साथ बात करूँ। अगर पहले मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ कि जो आपके स्पाउस हैं, आप जिन आपके सबसे जो बच्चे के करीब जो है, उसके साथ आपको बात करना है, और आपको पता लगाना है कि इसके इसके साथ जो है उनका क्या सोच है, वो क्या सोच रहे हैं, हम क्या सोच रहे हैं। पहले तो माँ बाप को सोचना है कि मैं मेरे बेटे के लिए या मेरे बेटे के लिए ये चाहता या चाहती हूँ। तो अगर ये एक आप क्लैरिटी ला दें, तो कोविड में बहुत सारे इंस्टेंसेस मैंने देखे हैं क्या, जहाँ पर एक पेरेंट चल बसा है, तो दूसरे पेरेंट की जिम्मेदारी हो जाती है कि उन्होंने सब सिंगल हैंडेडली सोचना है कि मेरे बच्चे के लिए मैं क्या करूं। बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है। तो मेरा बहुत सबसे बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ कि पहले आप एज हस्बैंड वाइफ जो हैं या फिर जो सिबलिंग है उसके साथ डिस्कस करो कि 10 साल में हमको क्या चाहिए, 20 साल में हमें क्या चाहिए, आगे हमको हमारे बच्चे के लिए क्या चाहिए। ये पहले आप डिसाइड करो, तभी जाके आप नेक्स्ट स्टेप ले सकते हो कि इसके बाद अगर मुझे 10 साल में उसको इंडिपेंडेंट करना है, अगर 20 साल में मुझे लगा कि वो एक जगह पे अपने आप रहने को जाने वाला है, कोई रेसिडेंशियल सेंटर जाने वाला है, या फिर मैं उसको ट्रेनिंग दूंगा कि वो बैंक में काम करने वाला है, या फिर मैं उसके खुद का बिजनेस सेटअप करने वाला हूँ, तो फिर एक गोल अगर आपने लिख दिया तो फिर उसके हिसाब से आप सोच सकते हो कि हमारे बाद के पहले हम जब हैं तब हमें क्या चाहिए। अगर वो लिख दिया तो फिर अगर हम नहीं है तो भी वो और कोई सोच सकता है और समझ सकता है कि ठीक है हमें ये करना है, क्योंकि हमको ये अचीव करना है। अभी मूविंग ऑन, मेन स्टेप्स ये हैं कि मैं किस पे विश्वास करूं, मेरा फैमिली या मेरा दूसरा बच्चा या मेरे दोस्त या कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन है जहाँ पे मैं मेरे बच्चे को रखने वाली हूँ और वो उनको मेरे बच्चे को संभालने वाले हैं। ये हमेशा एक थॉट प्रोसेस रहता है। और आज सबसे बड़ा जो वरी है सारे पेरेंट्स का है कि मेरे बाद जो खर्चा होने वाला है, ओके, वो कौन देखभाल करेगा, उसके लिए मेरे पास इनफ है क्या। मेरे बच्चे को देखभाल करने के लिए जितना पैसा लगने वाला है, पहले तो मैं कैसे एस्टिमेट करूं कि कितना लगेगा, फिर उसकी हेल्थ के लिए मैं कैसे एस्टिमेट करूं कि कितना लगने वाला है। उसके बाद ऑफ कोर्स ये तो एक बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि अगर पैसा भी इकट्ठा कर दिया तो पैसे को कौन संभालेगा मेरे बच्चे के लिए, फिर क्यों कोई मेरे बच्चे को संभालेगा। और फाइनली आता है कि इसके लिए मैं विल्स बनाऊं, ट्रस्ट बनाऊं, ये सब आपको आज डिटेल में हम समझाएंगे केस स्टडीज के द्वारा। और विल और ट्रस्ट जो है वो श्रेया बहुत ही सिंपल तरीके से आपको समझाएगी कि इसके लिए आपको क्या क्या स्टेप्स कभी कभी लेना है, क्योंकि ये जितना आप डिले करते जाओगे उतना ये डिफिकल्ट होते जाता है। तो हम लोग रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं पेरेंट्स को कि ये सब जो चीजें इसके बारे में जो सोचना है और जो एक्शन लेना है वो आप जल्द से जल्द शुरू कीजिए। बाकी भी नीड्स रहते हैं, हमारे पेरेंट्स हैं उनको संभालना है, दूसरा बच्चा है उसकी नीड्स हैं, उसकी पढ़ाई है उसको संभालना है, हम खुद कहीं घूमना जाते हैं, घूमने को जाना चाहते हैं तो उसके लिए पैसे की जरूरत है, हम घर खरीदना चाहते हैं, गाड़ी खरीदना चाहते हैं, हमारी खुद की रिटायरमेंट है उसके लिए हमको प्लानिंग करना है। एक दिन पैसा आना बंद हो जाएगा तो वो पैसे के लिए वो उसके बाद रिटायरमेंट के बाद जो पैसा लगेगा वो कहाँ से आएगा। हमारे हेल्थ रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स आने ही वाले हैं जैसे हम एज होते हैं। तो ये सब करने के लिए क्या मुझे लाइफ लॉन्ग काम करना पड़ेगा कि मेरे पास ऑलरेडी इसके लिए एक प्लान है कि मैं ये अचीव कर सकती हूँ। इसके बारे में हमको ठीक तरीके से सोचना है। अभी हम ये सब जो सोच विचार चालू है उसके साथ साथ हमको प्लानिंग के द्वारा ये समझना है कि मुझे कितना पैसा लगेगा, मुझे किस तरह के रिस्क हैं लाइफ में। ये रिस्क के बारे में हमको आज मिलिन एकदम डिटेल में समझाएंगे कि आपको किस तरह के रिस्क लाइफ में हमको आते हैं। लाइफ का रिस्क का मतलब क्या है, मेडिकल का रिस्क क्या है, मेरे पास ऑलरेडी कितना पैसा है, क्या मैंने एक जगह लिख के रखा है, क्या मेरे अलावा और किसी को मेरे घर में पता है कि कितना पैसा कहाँ है। अगर मुझे कल कुछ हो गया तो बाकी जो है मेरी वाइफ जो है या मेरे बच्चे जो हैं, क्या उनको समझ में आएगा कि मैंने क्या किया है अभी तक। किसी का नाम मैंने कहीं लिख कर रखा है, किसी का नंबर है उनके पास, कि उनको बहुत तकलीफ होगी। तो ये सब जब चल रहा है आपके दिमाग में तब सेविंग्स शुरू करना और उसको इन्वेस्ट करना सबसे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। जो मिस्टेक्स यूजुअली हम करते हैं वो है, अगर आपने ये देखा, ये इमेज में आपको दिख रहा है कि ये बंदा बहुत परेशान है। ये क्यों परेशान है, शायद उसको पता नहीं है कि इंश्योरेंस का कितनी जरूरत है, कितना इंश्योरेंस उसने लेना चाहिए खुद के लिए, बच्चे के लिए, अपनी फैमिली के लिए, किस तरह की इंश्योरेंस अवेलेबल है। सारा पैसा जाकर फिक्स डिपॉजिट्स में अगर रख दिया तो क्या ये सही बात है। अगर वो सबसे कम इंटरेस्ट में है तो आप क्या इन्फ्लेशन को भी बीट कर रहे हैं, महंगाई को बीट कर रहे हैं क्या? ये किस तरह से आपको सोचना है इसके बारे में, और किस तरह से आपको इसकी प्लानिंग करनी चाहिए। इसका टैक्स इम्पैक्ट क्या होता है, हमारे हाथ से कितना पैसा जा रहा है, उस पैसे को हमने किस तरह से बचाना चाहिए। मुफ्त में टैक्स नहीं भरना चाहिए, आपका बहुत हार्ड अर्न्ड मनी है, तो उसके लिए आपने क्या करना है। कोई भी अगर आ जाए और आपको बताया है कि आप इधर इन्वेस्ट करो, इसमें डालो, उसमें डालो, आपको यहाँ पर बहुत पैसा मिल जाएगा, मैंने बहुत पैसा कमाया है, ऐसे बोलने वाले बहुत लोग रहते हैं, लेकिन आपको ये नहीं पता रहता है कि उन्होंने किधर पैसा गवाया है। तो लोगों को सिर्फ ऐसे ही सुनना और ठीक तरह से एक प्लान के हिसाब से नहीं चलना, वो भी बहुत गलत बात है। एडॉक इन्वेस्टमेंट्स मत करना। एक बार प्लान बन गया तो उसको ठीक सही तरीके से उसको फॉलो करना। एडवाइस लेना, अगर लोगों को लगता है कि मैं किसको जाके पूछूं, कौन है मेरे लिए, कौन मुझे सही तरीका बताएगा। हमारे जैसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, और हम लोग, मैंने तो सिर्फ स्पेशल नीड्स फैमिलीज के लिए ही ये प्रैक्टिस खोला है, ताकि आपको सही गाइडेंस मिले। हम आपको बता सकते हैं कि किस तरह से हर एक फैमिली को आप खुद के लिए एक मीटिंग लेकर आप इसका प्लानिंग कर सकते हैं, और ये आप as far as possible you can take care, and taking advice you can do this and do it properly for yourselves. Property में पैसा लगाना, people think that they can just invest in property and make a lot of money from property, but कोविड में आपने देखा है कि किस तरह से लोगों को कितनी परेशानी हुई है, रेंट भी नहीं मिला है। हाउ मेनी पीपल ट्राई टू सेल देयर प्रॉपर्टी, वो बेच ही नहीं पाए। तो ये सब जो है आपको एक प्लानर बैठ के आराम से आपके सब सारे क्वेश्चंस जो हैं उसका आंसर ठीक तरीके से दे सकते हैं। अब ये मिस्टेक्स हमारे से क्यों होता है? जो पेरेंट्स बोल रहे हैं कि मुझे इंग्लिश में बात करो,
हाँ, English, yeah, their parents are asking that if you can do.
Yeah, so see, it is clearly written in English, so I thought
I
to
know.
talk in Hindi. तो
Yes.
इंग्लिश में तो आप पढ़ सकते हो, जो हिंदी इंग्लिश नहीं समझ में आता है उनको हिंदी में बात किया मैंने, नो प्रॉब्लम, आई टॉक ओनली इन इंग्लिश. So the whole problem is that people don't spend time in educating themselves. We are not taught about financial planning in school at all. We are just taught that about figures and numbers, and we are taught about finance, but you don't know how to apply finance in your own lives. People are not teaching you how to go and actually, in a school setup, you're not taught how to save, how to invest. When you earn money, how are you supposed to track income? What is the meaning of taxation? How do you actually calculate expenses? And then therefore, how do you arrive at how much you can save? Not just that, you're not even taught what are the kind of products out there in which you should invest or which you should not invest in. People are not told that these are not right for you. They're not able to understand how to do investments. They're taking care of risk की कोई सोचता ही नहीं है डायरेक्टली। फिर अगर आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट कर दिया तो उसका रिस्क कोई सोचता नहीं है। एवरीबॉडी इज ओनली बॉदर्ड अबाउट द रिटर्न्स। हाँ, मैं इतना पैसा बना लूंगा। तो फिर देन नोबडी इज थिंकिंग अबाउट how am I going to take care? If I've invested 100 rupees and it becomes 99, I'm okay. But if it becomes 80, I'm not okay. 100 will become 120 one day, but in the middle, if it goes down to 80, will I lose sleep? So these are all things about financial literacy that you should educate yourself about. You should learn, you should read, and you should educate yourself carefully. You should spend some time in terms of planning. मुझे पता है कि बहुत मुश्किल रहता है हमको. You're spending so much time taking care of your child. आपको उसी में बहुत ज्यादा टाइम चले जाता है. But then अगर आपने अपने पैसे पर ध्यान नहीं दिया तो पैसा भी बढ़ेगा नहीं. You need to be careful about spending enough time to watch your money also. You have to keep all of the money intact. You have to see that is it growing properly or not. Biggest mistake that we do is obliging people. Don't go around randomly saying नहीं इसका भलाई उसका भलाई करने के लिए मैं कर रहा हूँ. बहुत गलत बात है. Don't try to go out of the way and then land up doing something wrong for yourself. Please be careful in terms of doing overdoing this. If you're helping somebody, there are people who will tell you, please आप ना बैंक में पैसा छोड़ दीजिए, मेरा टारगेट है, प्लीज आप ये इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी ले लीजिए, इस पे मेरे को आई एम गोइंग थ्रू वेरी बैड टाइम, मुझे हेल्प होगा, प्लीज आप ये पर्टिकुलर अकाउंट खोल दीजिए, इससे मेरा बहुत फायदा होगा. बट ये सब मत करना, क्योंकि ये ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आपको समझ में भी नहीं आएगा मैंने ये क्यों किया. So be careful about unnecessarily obliging people. Be careful and stay focused on your goals and see what you're supposed to do for yourself. Right? Now coming to a case study, I would like to request my colleague Milan to come in and to help you with taking you through a proper case study. We had decided to present in English and Hindi. Okay. So this is your call. Personally, what would you like? Kindly let us know, because see, all the figures are in English. अगर आप चाहते हो तो हम हिंदी में बात कर सकते हैं या फिर प्योर इंग्लिश में बात कर सकते हैं, dependent on what your audience is. In the chat box, if you all can type, it will be helpful for us to know कि what language you would like us to talk in.
It's actually both. I mean, somewhere, yeah, little Hindi, please. Like they are saying mostly we are using English. Okay, they are putting up in chat box. Hindi.
Yeah, because एक बार वो आ गया ना, so then it will be clearer that we want to be of full help to all the people here. अगर हमने बात की और किसी को समझ में ही नहीं आया तो फिर क्या फायदा. हमको वो नहीं करना है, हमको सबको genuinely help करना है. तो yeah, so if there is a reference to budget, it's very very simple. अभी तक कुछ ज्यादा आया नहीं है, एक ही लाइन आया है कि एक पर्टिकुलर जो पॉलिसीज इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज में प्रीवियसली ऐसा होता था कि पेरेंट के गुजर जाने के बाद ही एन्युटी जो है बच्चे को मिलेगा. अभी उन्होंने वो रूल चेंज करके बोल दिया है कि पेरेंट के 60 इयर्स होते ही बच्चे को एन्युटी शुरू हो जाएगी. ओके, सो मिलन, ओवर टू यू. I think mix of Hindi or English, anything they're saying. So
yes, mix would be okay.
Sure. Yeah, I will mix it, and even English will be very simple. It will be jargon free. That's what I can promise. Hi, good evening and very warm welcome everyone. This is Milin Shah. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. I promise I will keep it very simple and interesting. And as shared by Chitra, we will do it in a case study format, purely case study format. And please consider this as a story. So we are going to share the real life story of one parent. And although this is a story of just one parent, but it is coming from thousands of such experiences. Just like Chitra, there are thousands of such parents who have shared their real life challenges with us and their objectives, and then we came up with this solution. Yeah, so just one request that take this as a story rather than relating your own numbers. So situation for each one of us is more or less it will be similar. So only number will change. And given a chance, we will be more than happy to do one-on-one session with all of you. So although Chitra has already outlined the probable financial needs of family, so I am just sharing it once again with all of you, that these are the probable financial need of every family. Yeah, so the first one being child's lifelong living expense. I hope the screen is visible.
Yeah, clear.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the first one is child's lifelong living expenses need after parent retire. So till the time we are working and managing family, we take care of everything. But the day we stop working and we think about our own retirement, we think about the lifelong need of a child as well. And this is something the most important for every parent at the top of their mind. So we are planning for 2 generations essentially. Yeah, then second need is about child's special skill development need. Many parents want child to develop some skill that can help them to be independent in their life. and this is different for everyone. It may be music, hospitality, some back office job, etc. So obviously there will be some cost to it, but one should surely look out for that what we want to plan. Yeah, then third one is a child's health related need, especially after parents' retirement, because till the time we are working, somehow we manage it. But what after our retirement? We have seen many parents stressed with the fact that mediclaim is either not available to their child, or if available, it is very small in amount. Yeah, many times even claims are also getting rejected. So all these are creating some stress. But in true sense, mediclaim is not solving our problem completely. Yeah, if it is available, it is good, and if not, then we should not really be bother about it. We should build and dedicate our own corpus, which act as a mediclaim after our retirement. So if we have a dedicated corpus, then maybe we are not stressed with the fact that we don't have a mediclaim or it is getting rejected. It's a additional bonus for us. Yeah, in fact, after retirement, what we have seen at higher age, mediclaims is too costly. Yeah, so we have seen many retirees discontinuing their policy after some 4 or 5 years post retirement. So in that case, we do not have anything in place. So that is why it is very important that we keep this medical health corpus also in place. Yeah, so these are the 3 goals. Yeah, then fourth one, again, very important, something very important. Most of the time it is ignored. Yeah, so administrative management also have some cost. Yeah, so imagine parents have already planned for living and lifestyle need of a child. Yeah, so इमेजिन करते हैं कि पेरेंट ने लाइफ हम लोग चाइल्ड का जो लाइफ लॉन्ग लिविंग एक्सपेंस नीड है, लाइफस्टाइल है, वो ऑलरेडी प्लान किया है. या बट देयर आर सम एडिशनल कॉस्ट टू इट अनलेस यू ऑलरेडी अकाउंटेड फॉर इट इन द बेसिक एक्सपेंसेस. जो हमने फर्स्ट गोल प्लान किया कि मेरे चाइल्ड के लाइफ लॉन्ग नीड के लिए इतना पैसा पर मंथ चाहिए, अभी there are some cost which is over and above this. For example, let's say I am paying salary to some appointed guy, मतलब किसी को हमने अपॉइंट किया है who is looking after accounting, returns, या फिर कुछ थोड़ा मनी मैनेजमेंट में हेल्प करता है, या फिर कॉस्ट ऑफ हेल्पर who support our child. तो ये सब कॉस्ट है, ये हमारे जो बेसिक एक्सपेंस है उससे भी ऊपर है. This is extra over and above our basic expenses. If I don't plan it separately, then possibly my child will get lesser amount to that extent. मतलब अगर child को x amount जाना था, तो x amount दूसरा y amount का expense हो गया, तो child को तो कम amount जाएगा. So और हमने ज्यादातर टाइम देखा है कि ये वाला expense generally लोगों ने इग्नोर किया है. So which is a bad financial planning. Yeah, so this is something which we need to account for. Then these 2 goals, ये 2 गोल जो है वो पेरेंट के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, सबके लिए, दैट इज देयर ओन रिटायरमेंट नीड. वो कभी ना कभी, आज ने 10 साल बाद, 15 साल बाद कभी ना कभी हम रिटायर होंगे, या और तो उस टाइम पे हमारा लिविंग एक्सपेंस नीड या फिर हेल्थ कॉर्पस, जैसे हम हमारे बच्चे के लिए हेल्थ कॉर्पस क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, वैसे हमें भी लगेगा. So why you also want to depend on mediclaim? So health related जैसे बच्चे का किया है वैसा हमारा भी हम करेंगे. So these 2 goals also we will plan. And then finally the risk management to protect families need. तो हमने पूरा financial plan बनाया, and financial plan is dependent on just one fact, that we are going to live, save, earn, save and fund all the goals. क्या हमारे सारे के सारे गोल मीट हो जाएंगे? लेकिन क्या होगा अगर मुझे कुछ हो गया, पेरेंट्स को कुछ हो गया? यही तो हमारा बिगेस्ट वरी है. अगर हमें कुछ हो गया तो वो जो पैसा अक्यूमुलेट करने वाले थे फॉर मीटिंग ऑल दिस गोल्स, तो उसका क्या होगा? तो उसके लिए हमारा फॉल बैक प्लान क्या है कि हु विल टेक केयर ऑफ फाइनेंशियल नीड इफ आई एम नॉट देयर. तो उसके लिए एक इंश्योरेंस नीड एनालिसिस करते हैं कि कितना लाइफ इंश्योरेंस मेरी लाइफ में होना चाहिए. Yeah, so that is a risk management part. Now let me introduce you to the family. So this is a family of 3 people, Ravi and Chitra, both age 50 and 49, and their son Shravan age 20. Now during the session when we asked both of them, when do you think you want to retire? कब आप retire होना चाहते हो? तो मतलब तो यहाँ पे पहला रिस्पॉन्स तो यही था कि हम तो रिटायर नहीं होएंगे, वी विल वर्क थ्रू आउट आवर लाइफ। या तो यहाँ पे सी क्वेश्चन बहुत क्लियर है कि व्हेन यू विल स्टॉप वर्किंग फॉर अर्निंग इनकम, है ना, तो आप अपने आप को एक्टिव एंगेज रख सकते, बट यू विल नॉट डिपेंड ऑन दैट इनकम। तो वो एज तो उन्होंने बताया कि हम आने वाले 10 साल में 60 की एज पे डेफिनेटली वी वुड लाइक टू स्टॉप वर्किंग। तो वो एक पर्टिकुलर एज है, तो उनका रिटायरमेंट एज आ गया 60 ना। अभी ऑब्वियसली इफ दे स्टॉप वर्किंग आफ्टर 10 ईयर, तो फिर उनका जो बेटा है श्रवण, उसको भी तो इनकम नीड आ जाएगा। सो जब श्रवण आज 20 का है, जब वो 30 का हो जाएगा, तो उसको भी तो पैसा चाहिए पर मंथ। तो मतलब मुझे एक पैसा चाहिए हम दोनों के लिए, सेल्फ एंड स्पाउस के लिए, और दूसरा सेट ऑफ पैसा चाहिए वो है चाइल्ड के लिए। सो वी आर सेइंग दैट इन नेक्स्ट 10 years वी विल रिटायर and we need income flow for us and for Shravan both. So that's the goal of this family. फिर यहाँ पे हमने पूछा कि कितना नीड है आपका, so what is your need? तो उन्होंने बेसिकली ऐसा बोल दिया कि फॉर just to take care of Shravan we need 45,000 a month, and for both of us we need 75,000 a month. So there is a breakup of this 45,000 कि हमें डे टू डे लिविंग एक्सपेंस के लिए श्रवण के लिए 20,000 चाहिए टू टेक केयर ऑफ हिज डे टू डे लिविंग नीड। आज तो हम आने वाले नेक्स्ट 10 साल तक वो हमारा कॉमन एक्सपेंस है, विल टेक केयर ऑफ इट। बट आफ्टर वी रिटायर, मतलब 10 साल के बाद श्रवण के लिए 45,000 ब्रेकअप ऐसा है, 20,000 फॉर डे टू डे लिविंग एक्सपेंस, मेडिकल के लिए डेडिकेटेड 5,000 अ मंथ, फिर उसका कुछ थेरेपीज वगैरह चलता है 20,000 a month. So overall 45,000 a month is the requirement for Shravan, and for both of us, हम दोनों के लिए 35,000 लिविंग एक्सपेंस। हम साल का एक बार वेकेशन भी करेंगे, तो वेकेशन के लिए अराउंड 3,60,000 साल का, मतलब मंथली 30,000, मेडिकल रिलेटेड 5,000 और सम अदर एक्सपेंसेस जो सबकी लाइफ में होते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ, गिफ्टिंग, चैरिटी, रिलीजियस, वैसा कुछ। ओवरऑल सी इंटरनल हेड कोई भी हो, बट ओवरऑल एक्सपेंस 45,000 बेटे के लिए और 75,000 हम दोनों के लिए, ऐसा उनका नीड था। नाउ लाइक आई रिक्वेस्टेड अर्लियर, प्लीज डोंट गिव एनी इंपॉर्टेंस टू दिस नंबर, क्योंकि सबके नंबर्स अलग होते हैं, है ना। किसी का घर शायद 1 लाख में चलता है, किसी का 50 में चलता है, किसी का 10-20,000 में भी चल जाता है। सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द एंटायर फाइनेंशियल सिचुएशन। सो दिस इज द नंबर ऑफ दिस फैमिली। देन वी आस्क देम व्हाट इज योर कैश फ्लो, मींस हाउ मच income do you earn and how much do you spend? तो यहाँ पे आप लेफ्ट साइड पे देखोगे, you will see a inflow. Now husband means between two of them, both of them are working. Yeah, 1,75,000 a month is the income. So yearly it is 21 lakh. Overall they are earning 3,50,000 a month between two of them, and total income is around 42 lakh yearly. So this is their income. How much they are spending? So they are spending in this pattern: living expense, home loan EMI, insurance premium, saving some RD, conveyance. Yeah, then conveyance means includes petrol and entertainment, vacations. Yeah, some other expense. Then especially for the child, there are some school related expenses, 10,000 a month, medical related 5,000, therapies. This is just an illustration. Yeah, so ये number का आपकी life में कोई importance नहीं है, but just to tell you, means just to build a story. See this couple, whatever income, whatever expense, but overall they are able to save around 60,000 a month. So you park this figure in your mind. आप कहीं पे लिख के भी रखो कि this couple is able to save 60,000 a month. So yearly it is 7,20,000. So when we get into the financial plan, we will be able to relate this number कि ये फैमिली अपने फ्यूचर के लिए 60,000 अ मंथ सेव कर सकता है इजीली, इनकम माइनस एक्सपेंसेस। देन लेट्स लुक एट द करंट इन्वेस्टमेंट। सो दे आर वर्किंग सिंस लास्ट 20-25 years, वो 50 साल के तो हो गए। सो ओवर लास्ट 20-25 years they have built this much money. So let me show you. Overall they have built around 2,45 lakh, जिसने 20-25 year काम किया है, and both of them built together 2,45 lakh. अब इन्वेस्टमेंट कहीं पे भी हो सकता है हम सबका। दे हैव सम सेविंग अकाउंट बैलेंस, दे हैव फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट अराउंड crore. Yeah, then here they have some corporate FD, they have bonds, yeah, they have PPF, EPF, they have some equity in stocks and equity funds. It may be anything. It may be property also. Yeah, so they can have different assets and different rate of return expectation. So now the way this family is invested, you look at the, again, park this figure, 1 is 2 crore 45. कि उन्होंने पिछले 20-25 साल में 2 करोड़ 45 लाख अक्यूमुलेट किया है ना. यही पैसा है जो उनके फ्यूचर के लिए काम में आने वाला है. Yeah, so this is second figure I want you to note down that they have around 2 crore 45 lakh, and on this 2 crore 45 lakh उनका pre-tax return 8.14% है. मतलब उन्होंने अलग अलग पैसा अलग अलग एसेट में डाला है. हाँ, थोड़ा पैसा EPF में, PPF में, बॉन्ड में है, सब एक में नहीं है, सब अलग अलग एसेट में है. तो अलग अलग एसेट से रिटर्न कितना आता है? तो ओवरऑल रिटर्न इज 8.14%. This is the portfolio return. Yeah, so again keep this in mind that their 2 crore 45 lakh is growing at a rate of 8.14%. ये उनका pre-tax return है. इसके ऊपर वो थोड़ा टैक्स भी भरेंगे. तो ऑब्वियसली हम लोग को, हमें जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट पे रिटर्न मिलता है, हम टैक्स तो भरते हैं गवर्नमेंट को. So we'll account for tax also on this 8.14%. So now this was about this family's situation. Yeah, now let's create a plan. कि उनकी जो जो नीड है उसके अकॉर्डिंग क्या प्लानिंग है. So let's talk about this. First goal is Shravan secured future income. Like we said, we want to plan for 2 generation. तो हम हमारा तो प्लान करेंगे, हमारा रिटायरमेंट वो सब प्लान करेंगे. प्लस श्रवण का secured future. Today Shravan is age 20. Yeah, and as we discussed, in next 10 years we are going to retire. This couple is going to retire. तो couple के पास 10 years ही है to plan everything. So after 10 years जब श्रवण को income need आएगा, तो family ने बोला कि 45,000 a month is my need. So if they say 45,000 a month today, then obviously 10 years down the line amount requirement will be different, right? It could be around 80,000 rupees. जो 45 आज का need है, that will become 80,000. How? Because of inflation. See, we are living in a country like India where inflation rate is anywhere around 6-7% per annum. Yeah, so if we we discuss with our parents, we will understand that they used to run their house in just 5,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees. Yeah, and today we have to spend around 45-50,000 a month to run house. Why? Because of inflation. So because of inflation, we tend to spend more. Yeah, so there is nothing to get surprised. ये पास्ट में हुआ है और फ्यूचर में भी होगा. आने वाले 10-15 साल तक इंडिया में इन्फ्लेशन रहेगा. हाँ, तो अराउंड 6-7% इज द एवरेज ऑफ लास्ट 40 years. तो वो कंसिडर करके आज का 45,000 will be 80,000 after 10 years. Now to spend this 80,000 a month throughout life, हमने 70-80 years तक का प्लान किया है. Then we need to have a corpus of around 2.31 crore. अगर मेरे पास 2.31 crore है by 2032, then I can easily generate 80,000 a month from this corpus. Yeah, so our target is to build 2.31 crore. ये हमारा first goal हो गया. Yeah. Then second goal is, like we discussed, most of the financial planning fail because people don't account for this expense, additional expense. तो यहाँ पे जो हमने बोला कि 45,000 is the requirement for my son. अगर मैं इसके ऊपर जो भी ऊपर के एक्सपेंस है वो अगर प्रोवाइड नहीं करूंगा, then my son will not get 45,000. हमने एक assumption लगाया है along with this family. जब हमने उनका फाइनेंशियल प्लान बनाया, साथ में मिलके एक assumption लगाया कि they will need extra 13,500 towards some other expenses. जो भी ऊपर का एक्सपेंस है, हेल्पर कॉस्ट है या और कोई भी है, रिटर्न्स फाइलिंग का है, जितने भी एक्सपेंसेस है, someone is going to manage this, right? तो उसका जो एक्सपेंस है वो हो रहा है 13,500. अगर मैंने ये प्रोवाइड नहीं किया, then my son will get only 30,000, not 45,000. Yeah, so 13,500 is a today's expense. Yeah, and this can be 24,000 after 10 years because of inflation. Now to provide for this 24,000 a month, we need to build a corpus of around 70 lakh. 70 lakh का एक dedicated corpus होना चाहिए for this particular goal. So we are creating different buckets. फर्स्ट बकेट हमने क्रिएट किया, मैं वापस पीछे लेके जाता हूँ। फर्स्ट बकेट में आई नीड 2.31 करोड़, सेकंड बकेट में आई नीड 70 करोड़, तो अब तक 2 करोड़ तो हो गया। इमेजिन दैट वी आर बिल्डिंग अ कॉर्पस फॉर श्रवण, सो दैट व्हेन वी आर नॉट देयर श्रवण हैव इनफ मनी। अगर आप इमेजिन करो कि कोई ट्रस्ट भी बिल्ड करता है, ट्रस्ट, या जो हमारे जाने के बाद वो ट्रस्ट अगर कोई भी दूसरा ट्रस्टी ऑपरेट करता है, इमेजिन दैट आई हैव माय ब्रदर who will take care of my child and he is a trustee of this trust, he will need some money, right, to take care of my child. Imagine that I have built this 2 crore between these two goal, वो 2 करोड़ मैंने वो ट्रस्ट में डाला है और वो ट्रस्ट ही इज मैनेजिंग इट और उससे वो इनकम जनरेट करके ही इज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ माय चाइल्ड। या दैट्स अ डिजायरेबल थिंग टू डू। हम सब वही करना चाहते हैं कि तो ट्रस्ट तो हम बिल्ड कर देंगे, लेकिन उसमें पैसा डालना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि वो पैसे से ही मेरा बच्चे का नीड फुलफिल होने वाला है। या so far we have discussed 2 goal. Third goal also we discussed कि श्रवण secured future health corpus. So after 10 year, if so today when we say 15 lakh, मैं आज का नीड बोलता हूँ, after 10 year this 15 lakh will not be 15 lakh, it will be 27 lakh. Now I need to add this 27 lakh also with that corpus. So far it is around 2 crore 27 lakh approximately. Now these 2 goals are for a couple, means Ravi and Chitra. So their retirement income need, they said that after retirement we want to spend 75,000 a month. So today's 75,000 will not be 75,000, it will be around 1.34 lakh after 10 year. Imagine, we don't think about inflation. Yeah, so that's why all this number looks bigger to us. But trust me, yeah, अगर हम 30-40 साल पीछे जाते थे तो हम ये नंबर इमेजिन करते थे, हम वो लेवल पे भी डर जाते थे कि ये पॉसिबल है क्या, लेकिन हुआ। आज जिस हिसाब का हमारा स्पेंडिंग है वो हम कभी इमेजिन नहीं कर पाते थे पास्ट में भी, लेकिन वो हो रहा है। So this is also going to happen. We are going to spend approximately 1.34 lakh per month, and to spend this kind of money we need a corpus of 3.26 crore. Again, looks very large number. So this is also, since it is a future number, it will always look large. But trust me, this is not a difficult thing to achieve. And that's what we will discuss, that how this family could achieve all these goals. So 3.26 crore ka target for this couple for a retirement income. Then health corpus, just like us, like child we discussed, for parent also one dedicated corpus of 20 lakh health corpus, and today's 20 lakh will be approximately 36 lakhs after 10 year. So again we want to build 36 lakhs for us. This couple wants to build this target corpus also. So we are discussing this top 5 requirement of this family. So like Chitra said in her presentation, we may have some other needs also, we may have other child also, so we need to discuss all those things also. But these are the top critical, very important goals that's what we are going to discuss right now. So now let's look at this plan. So I will start with this. So the rate of return, the way this currently this family has invested, the currently held portfolio can generate a return of 8% pre-tax. But obviously we are going to pay taxes on all those investment, whatever FD है या जितने भी एसेट है, सबके इंटरेस्ट पे कुछ ना कुछ टैक्स लगने वाला है. So if we account for all those taxes, my return will not be 8%, it will be 6.20%. So whatever investment we have done, it is going to grow at 6.19%. Now let's look at these goals. So we have discussed all these goals कि श्रवण के ये 3 गोल है और रवि और चित्रा के ये 2 गोल है. We discussed that for Shravan we want to spend around 45,000 a month, which may be 80,000 at that point of time after 10 years, and to generate this 80,000 we need to build a corpus of 2.31 crore. तो imagine कि 2.31 crore build हो गया. When Shravan turns 31, we will start withdrawal, और उस टाइम पे ये withdrawal 9 considering inflation, ये withdrawal obviously ज्यादा ही होगा. So then this money will help us to lead the life, है ना. हम है तो हम ही विड्रॉ करके दे देंगे, और हम नहीं है, पेरेंट्स नहीं है, So the trustee will take care of a child. Yeah, this is the idea, that even if we are not there, money is there, then someone is taking care of this. Then second goal, administrative, we discussed that we need 70 lakh for that. Health corpus, we need 27 lakh. Overall, for Shravan's life, we need to build 3.28 crore corpus. Yeah, so this much money should definitely go to trust, that someone is managing this money and is generating this income. Similarly, for Ravi and Chitra, we discussed that they need around 3.61 crore for two of them. So overall, for the family, they need 6.89 crore, 7 crore. Looks very large. Yeah, but let's discuss how do we meet all these goals. Yeah, so 7 crore ka target hai. Just showing you a number simply कि कैसे ये target meet हो सकता है. Now in absence, now I said they are able to save something on a monthly basis. They have 2.45 crore accumulated since last many years. Yeah, तो एक बार के लिए वो नंबर को साइड पे रखते. Imagine that I want to start afresh to meet this goal. So just to give you a number, that if I am able to save monthly 1,40,000, if I am able to save this much, मतलब 16 लाख मैं साल का सेव कर रहा हूं, तो मैं आने वाले 10 साल में I can build 2.31 करोड़. या अगर मैं 1.40 लाख सेव करता हूं तो, और यहाँ पे मैंने और लिखा है, या तो फिर मेरे पास 1.27 करोड़ रेडी है, तो ये 1.27 करोड़ itself will become 2.31 करोड़. या और ये पैसा ग्रो होने वाला है ये रेट पे 6.19%. This money is going to grow at 6.19%, assuming that you are keeping invested this in this fashion only. आपने जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है, मान लेते हैं एफडी में किया है, जहां किया है, that is a correct way, and you have invested which is growing at 6.19%. With this investment you can meet your goal this way. या तो ये नंबर सिर्फ हमारे अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए है कि अगर श्रवण के लिए मैंने 2 लाख भी सेव किया पर मंथ, ये सारे गोल हो गए. मेरे पास तो 2 लाख पर मंथ है नहीं सेव करने को. या तो फिर लमसम में देखता हूँ 1.80 करोड़ सेव किया which is growing at 6.19 करोड़, तो भी ये सारे गोल मीट हो गए. We don't have both, means either of this, so we have a combination of this, है ना. मेरे पास कुछ लमसम इन्वेस्टमेंट भी है और थोड़ा मैं मंथली भी सेव करूंगा मेरे सैलरी इनकम से. So consider this. Now let's see. First, I already have 2.45 करोड़ पिछले 20 साल में जो बिल्ड किया है कपल ने. Let me first allocate that money. Yeah, so let's allocate this money. I have so first goal के लिए 1.27 करोड़ enough है. So let's allocate 1.27 crore. This is growing at 6.19%, and this will become required money 2.31 crore, and you will see a tick over here that this goal is achieved. तो आपका first goal हो गया monthly income need. Second goal, I have 38 lakh rupees, which I have. It's part of 2.45 crore. 38 lakh growing at 6.19 crore. This will become 70 lakh close to, and this goal is achieved. Then I have 14,73,000, approximately 15 lakh, which is growing at 6% per annum, and it is making around 27 lakh. This goal is achieved. So imagine that all these three goals means we have 3.27 crore which is required. ये अपने आप goal meet हो जाएगा. I will be able to transfer this fund, this money into a trust, which a trustee can manage and generate what is required for Shravan. Yeah, so Shravan part is done. Now let's talk about Ravi and Chitra. So now I have 65 lakh only to make entire 2.45 crore. So my 65 lakh is growing at 6.19%. And I have some monthly cash flow also that we discussed, that you park this figure in your mind, you write it somewhere. This family is able to save 60,000 a month for their future. तो उन्होंने वो 60,000 भी सेव करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. Now both these investment growing together, we need a corpus of 3.25 crore, but it is not possible क्योंकि ये थोड़ा कम पड़ रहा है ना. तो आप देखोगे ये गोल मीट नहीं हुआ. Even for health corpus, we don't have any money left. This goal is not achieved. Yeah, so basically this plan says that with this situation, you cannot meet your goals. So then we presented alternative scenario. imagine you change the way you are invested in, and somehow you are able to generate 10% from your portfolio. See, you are investing for next 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah, we have to change the way we are invested in. If I make that kind of change, and if my portfolio instead of 10%, 6% is growing at 10% per annum. Now, first, look at this great news that all the goals are achieved. You will see a tick over here. That means all the goals are achieved. How? So now, since my money is growing at higher rate of return, obviously money required is less. So now 89,21,000 is enough. 89,21,000 growing at 10% will become this 2.31 crore, and this goal is taken care. Similarly, 26 lakhs is enough, growing at 10%. This goal is done. So 1.26 crore is enough to meet all this goal. My 1.26 crore will become 3.27 crore at 10% per annum, because we changed the way we are invested in. Here also, Ravi and Chitra, 1.18 crore still they have, and they are saving only 8,700 a month from their salary income. And this amount itself, growing at 10% per annum, can become 3.25 crore, and this goal is met. Yeah, and here also, only 18,000 a month is enough. Yeah, and to make it 35 lakh over next 10 years, and this goal is taken care. Yeah, so the point we are making here, we just made two changes in the life. One, the way they have invested in. The way they are investing is not enough to beat the inflation. So how they can meet the goal? And two, with disciplined saving, what change they have made in their life is they have cultivated the saving in their life. Yeah, with disciplined saving, they could accumulate all these corpus and they meet all these goals. Yeah, so far we discussed the financial plan investment point of view. Now let's talk about risk management. Now imagine this family, means Ravi and Chitra are there. Now see, our entire financial plan is dependent on the fact that both of us are there. Yeah, we are here, and we are earning, and we are saving and accumulating money for our future. Imagine something happens to us, we don't know what can happen tomorrow. Yes, if something happens to us, and who will take care of all these savings which we need to do for future? So for that, from risk management point of view, it is very important that we understand the value of the life, and that can be covered by term insurance policy. See, most of the time we have seen people have invested in a policy like endowment plan, money back plan, yeah, whole life plan, where we pay premium for next 20-25 years, and after 25 years we get a maturity value, and you will be surprised to know that the maturity value that we are getting, if you find out rate of return, how much return you have generated, it is just 5 to 6%, anywhere between 5 to 6% per annum. Now apply inflation rate of the country, it is 6 to 7%. So you are not even beating inflation. Yeah, so that is why we always advise our clients that don't go for any insurance policy which can give you some returns. Yeah, after 25 years, I want something back, then you will not be able to beat inflation. So insurance should be thought like this, that every year pay and forget, but get a large cover, very large. It should run into crores, because that is the life of worth of the life. So we'll discuss what is the worth of this family. Yeah, so let's discuss this scenario, that this is a family, and we discussed all these goals. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals we discussed, that this is what they want to achieve in different years. Means after 10 years, they want this to accumulate this much money. Yeah, all the goals we discussed. Now consider liability also. So many times it happens that family has a home loan. Yeah, so let's say 50 lakh home loan is there, and some car loan is also there. I'm just putting a number over here. So they have 2 loans. If something happens to me today, then who will take care of this liability? So that should also be accounted there. Then we discuss that what kind of investment this family have. They have around 2.45 crore. This is what we discussed. Now, based on this situation, let's analyze the need. So this is the requirement. First, we are discussing term insurance need to cover your life goals. If something happens to me today, then my family should need approximately 3.59 crore to take care of all this need. So imagine that something happens today to the breadwinner of the family. 3.59 crore insurance company ने दे दिया ये family को, and this family will invest this money somewhere, and 10 years down the line जब भी ये need आएगा, they can spend this much money. Yeah, so that is why the need of this person means worth of life of this person is 3.59 crore today. Yeah, so first to take care of life goals, we need 3.59 crore. Secondly, liabilities. Now even 60 lakh need to be covered. If something goes wrong in life, then 3.59 crore plus this liability 60 lakh, so 4 crore 19 lakh. So this is a requirement as of today. Now against this we have built some assets. अगर कुछ हो गया तो मेरे पास इतना asset तो है, तो family can sell off this investment and meet their goals whenever they want in future. तो 2.45 crore तो मैं net off कर दूंगा. 3.59 plus 60 lakh minus assets I already have 2.45 crore. So net requirement is 1.75 crore. This is a net requirement. Then we ask the family, अभी ये requirement है. Now you tell us how much life insurance cover do you have? This family said nothing. We don't have anything. उनका life cover है ही नहीं. Life में ना ही endowment plan है, ना ही whole life plan है, money back नहीं है, term insurance नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं है. So we said, now you need to buy a term insurance cover of 1.75 crore. Should something happens to you, life insurance company will give you this 1.75 crore to the spouse, whoever, and then spouse can manage all these goals. जितना भी liability है pay off कर सकते, all the goals का fulfillment हो जाएगा. Then family will not be disturbed for this. Yeah, so at least from financial point of view. Yeah, so this is how we covered that if family is there, then they will save and fund all these goals. And if family is not there, then life insurance company will fund all these goals. Yeah, so thank you. So with this, we are at the end of the session. I hope I could simplify what I wanted to convey. Thank you.
Thank you,
Great,
Milind.
sir.
Yeah.
Just there was one question from Dr. Ashok Shah, sir. Can we take it? Just one question. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, Ashok Shah, sir, can you mute and
Term insurance for how many years? Yes,
yeah,
Term insurance for how many years? See,
Ideally,
ideally,
it should be for how many years?
yeah. So ideally, what we want to do, we want to protect our working life. If I have assumed that I will work for till the age 60, then I should buy a term cover for 50 की age पे I will buy it for 10 years. If I assume that I will work being doctor, I will work for till the 65 age, या 70 का age, then I should try to cover my working life. That's the right way to look at things, because generally it happens that people think that okay, let me buy it for 80 age also. है ना, मैं 80 तक का term insurance cover ले लेता हूँ. So maybe we can buy it, but it is not required because see, our working life is still 60-65. तो हम तब तक का ही प्रीमियम भरेंगे, because मैं 80 तक का लूंगा तो प्रीमियम भी कॉस्टली आता है. So we are paying for all those years which is not required, है ना. तो 60-65 तक assumed है कि I have built enough wealth, जो भी requirement है, then why should I buy a cover till 80 का age?
Here I'll beg to differ in the sense that we need to have a corpus for a child also for second generation. So if we survive, then we don't get anything from the term insurance. If we get take the cover till 80, then probably most of us will not survive till 80. So big chunk of corpus will be added to the child's this thing.
अच्छा डॉक्टर, यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट चाइल्ड्स लाइफ कवर?
No, our life cover.
हाँ
But
बराबर,
the amount will be, the child will be getting. So
चाइल्ड
his
विल बी
corpus will
गेटिंग.
definitely increase. If we take the cover till age 80, maybe this
So if
60 to 80 that premium will be paying, but usually in
Yeah.
term insurance, it's a very low premium for the cover that we get.
very true, very true.
So it's like
Yeah.
I know lottery system, brother. I'll just say.
Yeah, correct. I agree with you. So actually, doctor, you said the right word. Actually, I wanted to say that only. So it is like a lottery. Means someone might think कि हाँ चलो मैं 80 तक भरता हूँ और कुछ हो गया तो बच्चे को थोड़ा ज्यादा पैसा मिल जाएगा. So there is nothing wrong with that opinion also. That is also fine. That is also fine. खाली ये मैं अब हाँ फंडामेंटल जो डेफिनेशन है that is only about protecting my working life. बट यस देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन थिंकिंग कि चलो 80 तक का भी मैं भरता हूँ, अगर होने ही वाला है डेफिनेटली, अगर 80 तक कुछ हो गया तो बेटे को ज्यादा पैसा मिल जाएगा. सो दैट इज आल्सो फाइन.
Looking at the figures that you have shown, that we are always going to fall short of that reaching the target till the time we retire. So let that amount get added to for the child.
Yeah.
And second one
That
is
is
like
also right.
you said about the health expenses. Can it not be covered with the mediclaim policies?
Yes. So health related na, doctor, what I have seen, what we have seen generally. So first thing is mediclaim is the basic necessity. We say that you buy mediclaim, but over a period of time, what we have seen, especially with retirees, because we are talking about health corpus after retirement. So retiree का हमने usually ऐसा देखा है कि after 60 प्रीमियम तो बहुत कॉस्टली होता है. For 1 lakh sum assured, for 10 lakh sum assured, we are paying 1 lakh premium. So usually retirees find it very expensive. तो ज्यादातर टाइम ऐसा देखा है कि आपके पास मेडिक्लेम है, लेकिन आप 2, 4, 5 साल तक कंटिन्यू किया, 65 तक 66 तक कंटिन्यू किया और उसके बाद लोगों ने प्रीमियम पे करना बंद कर दिया. So in that situation, we are not continuing with the mediclaim and we don't have a health corpus also. तो हम तो दोनों बोल रहे हैं कि आप मेडिक्लेम रखो, बट मेक इट एज अ बैकअप प्लान. कि आप मेडिक्लेम है, अगर पास हो गया, मिल गया पैसा तो अच्छा है, और नहीं है तो वी शुड नॉट बी इन अ स्ट्रेस सिचुएशन. सो लेट्स हैव आवर ओन कॉर्पस आल्सो. दोनों लेना है.
एक और है कि व्हेन इट कम्स टू आवर चिल्ड्रन ना, हमको पता है कि मेडिक्लेम अभी तक तो मिल नहीं रहा है, थोड़ा बहुत मिल जाता है. समटाइम स्टार हेल्थ में अगर 25 के अंदर फॉर ऑटिज्म करके शुरुआत की है, बट we don't know how many families are actually getting. So I was talking to a family yesterday where their daughter is 40 years old and वो बोल रहे हैं कि जैसे जैसे वो एज हो रही है उसका एक एक नया मेडिकल इश्यूज आ रहा है, क्योंकि वो हाई ड्रग्स पे है, एपिलेप्टिकल ड्रग्स है, ये है वो है, ये सब जो है वो नए सिचुएशंस क्रिएट करते हैं. सो हेल्थ कॉर्पस का मतलब वो है कि बच्चे के लिए तो हेल्थ कॉर्पस की नीड है ही है. हम भी जब एज हो रहे हैं तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि मेडिक्लेम पैसा नहीं दे, तो देन इट हैज टू गो फ्रॉम आवर पॉकेट ना. सो फॉर दैट वी recommend that you should have a health corpus for yourself also and for your child also separately.
चित्रा, और एक ऐड करना था मुझे हियर कि मेडिक्लेम में तो हर एक चीज कवर नहीं होता है. इट नीड्स हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन. 24 आवर का तो हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन चाहिए. बहुत सारे एक्सपेंसेस ऐसे हैं जो मेडिक्लेम में कवर भी नहीं होने वाले. जैसे एट अ हायर एज आई नीड सम हेल्पर, तो मैं वो केयर टेकर का है या फिर वो मेडिकल रिपोर्ट्स का है या फिर वो डे टू डे विटामिन्स और दूसरे जो डे टू डे डायबिटीज से रिलेटेड जो मेडिसिन है, ये सब चीज तो कोई मेडिक्लेम में कवर नहीं होने वाला है. सो इफ वी हैव अ डेडिकेटेड कॉर्पस देन वी नीड नॉट वरी अबाउट इट, है ना. हमारे पास वो एक्स्ट्रा बफर है.
मिलिन, आज सबसे सिंपल मैंने एक डेंटल एक्सट्रैक्ट किया है जिसके लिए मेरे को जीए करना पड़ा श्रवण के लिए. खर्चा है 80,000 to 1 lakh. सालाना खर्चा है.
Right example. Yeah.
So and yeah, I agree to what Anupama has written. ULIP plans do not give a good rate of return. जैसे हम बात कर रहे हैं वहां पर वो अनुपमा ने वहां पर हमारे लिए आंसर दे दिया है, जो परफेक्ट बोला आपने कि प्लीज डोंट मिक्स रिस्क मैनेजमेंट एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट. Please,
Perfect.
term plans are the best to do that. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. I think we can now move on to Shreya.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks, Milind.
Welcome, Shreya ma'am.
Thank you so much. Milind, can you stop your presentation so that I can share? Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good evening. So thank you, Milind. You've explained very well, how the corpus is built over several years and then does its work for many years after that. And like you mentioned, that one of the instruments that's very essential in carrying these investments forward and making sure it's accessible is your trust. So today in my presentation, I will be covering the legal aspects of the planning. So Milind already spoke about how you can build this corpus, and I will be talking about how can you keep this corpus secure. In my presentation, I will also be using some case studies to explain to you some real life examples of why these instruments are important. All right. So I started with some very basic fundamentals of what are the reasons and what are the motivations behind creating these documents. One is that we want that general welfare and decision making. Sorry, 1 second. Right. So one is that we want that our general welfare happens smoothly. For everyday needs, money is accessible. For medical or any emergency, decision making is quick. So how do we make that happen? For larger decisions, like example, mobility, housing, or wealth management, we have to ensure there are good structures in place where informed decisions are being taken. And lastly, to reduce the burden of managing funds, because I think it is also a very stressful responsibility. And I think for our families, extended family members, it does increase acceptance of any kind of responsibility when things are well planned. I'll start with a case study of a 31-year-old boy with autism, medium level of independence, and there was no, future security solutions that were planned. So of course, security was low in that sense. And in, this person's case, we saw that for many, many years, the primary caregiver was the mother. So, be it for taking him to his extracurricular classes, to school, to his sports like swimming, skating, he was so active and everything was being taken care of by the mother. Now, unfortunately, the mother passed away very, very suddenly because of a medical condition. And then suddenly all the pressure came on the father, who had a traveling job, right, and just could not offer the same amount of time. In this case, what also happened was, even though there was a possibility that there were resources so that he could continue these activities, there was just no transition. There was no framework that allowed our client to maintain the same lifestyle that he had previously. So when we are preparing for the future, not only are we making sure that money is available or resources are available, we also want to make sure that it's available in a way where our children, our siblings are carrying forward their lives the same way, like, if not better, in the same way that, we expect for them. I'll show you another case study, and I'll come to the solutions, in the second half of the presentation, where, there was a woman who was 40 years old, had autism, and was very, very high functioning. And I think a lot of times when, when our family members are high functioning, we think that they do not need legal assistance, or they do not need financial assistance in that case. But I also do think that, I disagree with that view. So in this case study, what we'd observed was that there was the main asset was a house in Chandigarh, right? It was a prime location, prime property. But the parents in this case passed away suddenly in a car accident. And because there was an absence of a will and a trust, there was absolutely no way for anyone to liquidate the property and make funds available for the family, for the girl, right? So there was a caretaker, and over time, when we received this case study, the problem was that there was no liquidity to manage the day-to-day expenses of the child, even so, of the girl. So this problem again could have been very, very easily solved if there was a framework with a will and a trust, right? Where this asset could have been used to maintain the lifestyle that the girl needed. I'll share another case study of a boy who's 20 years old. Level of independence is low, so means very dependent on his family for his well-being. There was a future security solution available, but I still say the security was medium, because I also do think that planning needs to be done well. Just planning is not enough. Planning needs to be done well, and during the lifetime of the parent. So while you're still alive, why I keep saying that you need to create these instruments now is because you need to see if they actually work for your family or no, right? So in this case, and I'll share this openly actually. So this case is of my own family, right? This is my brother. My brother's now he's 21 years old, and he's an adult with autism. And my father, went through a serious illness, which affected his business. It affected like our family finances, and as a result of that, we had to fall back on the future security planning solution that we had, right? So however, we realized when we were tasked with this responsibility, we did not know what to do. For many years, my father has single-handedly managed our family's finances, right? And even though he created a trust, we did not know what to do about it. We did not know what to do with it. And luckily for our family, my father became better. He was able to come back, and we were able to redo this life, give us a second chance. And in that duration, I realized that it's very important that we educate ourselves. This is how I was motivated to start doing the work that I do. So my partner, who's a real estate lawyer, has done estate planning, for 2 decades. We came back together and we realized that for special needs family, it is important that solutions are customized. So a lot of parents, when I see, they're asking for standardized templates of wills and of trusts, I recommend that you work with somebody who understands what will work for your family. In my case, as in the case of a lot of people, the trustees and executors were made to be people who weren't up to the task of executing these things. So it's important that when you're selecting people for your framework, they are kept in the loop, the handover is done well, so that when the time comes, they're ready for taking up this responsibility. So I'll share a happy story as well after the tough ones. So I think what happens when you do financial planning while involving everybody is that I think it brings everybody closer. This happened with one of our clients, where because the aunts and uncles and the nieces and nephews, they were participating in how they were going to be a part of this girl's future, it brought everybody together. And I also think your child finds confidence. Like we also like to say that, for me, my client is always your child. So to include them in the conversation as much as you can, and to show them that after you, if they have to reach out to anybody for help, who are these people? So preparing everybody involved, I think it's very freeing. It gives you a lot of freedom, it takes away a lot of your worries. So let's talk about how we can do that. No matter what stage of your life you're in, Milan's already talked about, how do you plan for the future? How do you take into account for your goals? Now let's understand what are these instruments and at what stage do they come in. So there are two kinds of documents we will discuss today. One are government related documents and one are private personal documents and personal instruments, right? So legal guardianship and UDID are 2 documents that are issued by the government. Now they're very, very important, but they're not related to the trust and wills that you create. So even if you don't have a legal guardianship or UDID card, a lot of parents wait because these are government processes and it takes time. They also delay creating their will and trust. I think both these activities can happen in parallel. Both of them are equally important. I'm not saying one is more important than the other, but please work on these solutions simultaneously. Do not wait, to get your legal guardianship, because we've noticed so many times, even with Chitra's family, we took so long to get these to get the government documentations complete, that we decided that it's important that we have everything else in place at least. So today I will be talking about these 4 things. I'm sharing some resources on the UDID card. You can log on to swavlamban.org. That is the name of the website, where you can go online, fill this form online. My recommendation is that you download the PDF version of this form, right? And you go through it and you make sure that all the information that you need, you have available with you. Once you have that is when you start filling the online form, because the portal does not allow you to save your application. So if you lose, let's say if the portal crashes, or if you leave and come back, you'll have to start all over again. So better to be prepared. And I think from the experience of several parents, we've realized that the portal is not the smoothest and it takes a lot of time. So fill an offline form first. So whatever doubts you have, you can reach out to me, Chitra. There are so many people who can help you with this, who've done this before. And then once you submit the form, if you have submitted this with a disability certificate, okay, then the chances are that you will not be called for any kind of testing, any kind of screening. However, if you've applied for a UDID card without a disability certificate, then they will call you for a screening. And I think there are 2 reasons to this. One is also to protect the misuse of a UDID card, and also to ensure that you get the right label and the right kind of diagnosis on this. The next, so also the UDID card is also important because it's a centralized database of persons with disabilities across India. It's a central government initiative. And you can think about this as as an equivalent of the Aadhaar in terms of an ID. And I say this because in case our family member is, say, lost or gets separated from us, having a UDID card on them comes very handy, because it says that the person, it becomes very clear to whoever they're going to with help that the person might require extra assistance. So a lot of systems can be activated much faster. With the UDID card, there are a lot of NGOs that are already affiliated across the country. So with having this UDID card makes things easier for our authorities as well. I'll move on to the next, which is the legal guardianship. Now, legal guardianship is important because after 18 years of age, you are not legally allowed to make decisions for your children, right? I think it comes very naturally to us that as biological parents or as family members, even siblings, that we should be given the right to take decisions on behalf of a family member. However, that is not the case. And if, I think of it like this: as an adult who's neurotypical and over 18, if I am making my own decisions and if I am making my own rights, there needs to be something that differentiates me from my brother, right? So if tomorrow my parents want to step in for me, they cannot do that. But when they have to step in for my brother, legal guardianship acts as that proof that there is a need or there is a necessity for that to happen. So a legal guardian can, it allows you to take financial decisions on your child's behalf, even when they're an adult. It also allows you to take medical decisions. In case of an operation or in case of a medical emergency, these things come handy. I've also realized that legal guardianship comes very handy in social situations. I'll give you an example. During the lockdown, there was a lot of issue with one of our neighbors who was a person with disabilities because he wouldn't wear his mask. So a lot of times society people would complain, or once they got into trouble with the police officer for not wearing their mask. And as parents who have legal guardians, it gives you more authority to step in and talk on their behalf and talk on their position, and and take that position very, very firmly and very, very confidently with that document. it adds that added layer of protection, which comes along with being a biological parent. So again, the process is as follows. You go online to the nationaltrust.gov.in. The entire application is online, same procedure, download a PDF version of the application, collect all the information that you need. In this case, you definitely need a couple of things. And if anybody wants, I can share a checklist with, the coordinators, and they can share it with all the participants. So you will need things like, you will either need a disability certificate or a UDID card or a proof of disability to show why you're applying for legal guardianship. You will also need a joint photograph with the person you're applying legal guardianship for. So if you're applying, both parents can also apply. So it's called a joint application. So if both parents are applying with their child, they need a joint photograph of the three of them together. For smooth functioning of the process, please make sure that your picture is not cropped out of a family photograph. Please make sure you take it against like a plain background. All of these things help in smooth processing of your application. There are 1,000 reasons why your application can get delayed. Please let us, as applicants, we should be very, very mindful of what we can do to reduce those reasons. After that, once your application is complete, you may get a call from the local level committee. A lot of times that does not happen, and the legal guardianship certificate is delivered to your house. All right, so I will come to the trust, which I think a lot of parents have questions about, and it's also more complex than most applications that we've spoken of so far. I will talk about the will and trust in a combination, because I think that's how they're also to be used. Right. So before we look at the structure in a complicated way, let's think about it like this. Think of the trust as a fort that you're creating, as a physical body, as a fort that is created by, the ruler of the fort, right? Which is, in case here, the parents. Now, this fort is designed and created for the protection of your child, right? Now, in the absence of the rulers want that the fort is still protected, and it may be possible that that your children are either too small to take care of the fort themselves, or they might be persons with different needs, and that's why they may not be able to take care of the fort themselves. So in this case, what they do is they appoint administrators, and they appoint, if you think of this in a king queen setup. So the way this works is the fort, the king and queen are the parents, they're the settlers, right? They're making the settlement. They're also known as the authors, because they're authoring, they're also authorizing everybody, as to how everything functions. Your administrators become your army, or they become your soldiers. So technically, they do not own anything. They do not own the treasury. They do not own the fort, but they safeguard the fort, right? So now I'm going to move into like more technical terms to explain this to you, right? So what authors do, or what settlers do as parents, they put in the assets and they put in the resources into the trust for the longevity of the child's future. Now, the trustees are equivalents of the soldiers that I just spoke about. So everybody who you're appointing manages the trust to make sure that whenever these resources are needed to your child, they're available. Along with this, there may be people sometimes who may not want to take an active part in the trust, right? But they might be really good advisors, right? They might have information to offer. These can be your family doctors or somebody who's an expert in the field, who may not want to take up responsibility, but might be a really good fallback option in case someone needs advice, in case your trustees need advice. So for that, you add a board of advisors to your trust. This is optional. You can do that. You cannot do that. And ultimately, this entire flow is created so that all expenses of the child, day-to-day expenses, emergency expenses, are utilized carefully. It decreases the chances of misutilization of funds. It decreases the chances of fraud. And how does that happen, right? The trust is essentially a bank account, but the bank account is not run like any other savings account. It's based on special rules that are created by the authors or the parents in combination with legal experts, right? So I'll go over these list of questions that are frequently asked to help you understand the structure better. So first is, how do you select these trustees and how many trustees are needed? Now, there are two ways I say you select the trustees. One is somebody who's financially savvy. Now, this does not mean that they have to take up all the responsibility of managing the finances themselves. You can still appoint somebody like an MFA, somebody like Chitra's organization, who manages the finances for you. But this trustee should have an understanding of how the corpus is doing. Right? They should know that the money is being utilized in the right way in case of ups and downs, in cases of emergency. They know what is to be done. And the second thing they, apart from being financially savvy, is that they should be connected to your child. And when I say that, it means that they should know where all can the funds be needed for. So if a trustee is very, very smart financially, but absolutely has no idea in terms of what would be your child's needs, then he does not make for a good trustee, right? So the ideal number of trustees on your trust is 3. So with one trustee, the same issue happens, where in case something happens to the trustee, what's your fallback option? In 2 or any even number of trustees, there might be a conflict. And in case there's a conflict, there is no voting. There can never be a majority may not be achieved in case of 2 trustees or any even numbers of trustees. So it's always suggested that you have odd number of trustees. It's again not a compulsion, it's advised. And these trustees can again be your family members, they may be people from your trusted circles, or there are companies that specialize in giving you trusteeship services. Of course, they come at a much higher cost. And again, it's something that you should explore as a backup option. And the responsibilities of the trustees would be to do the administrative roles and responsibilities of the trust, like filing of taxes and returns, making sure the corpus is healthy, and making sure the funds are dispersed when they need to be dispersed. Now, trustee and caretaker of the child can be different, right? So somebody who's taking care of the child day to day may not be the trustee or may be the trustee of the trust. However, what's important is if they are different people, then they should be in close contact, because the caretaker knows most thoroughly in terms of what is happening in your child's life, where might these resources be needed. Now, why do you need a trust when there is a will in place? Now, a will simply tells the society, or it tells the people involved that what is the distribution of assets, right? It says that if, let's say, if you have 100 rupees and you have 2 children, and you say that 50-50 should go to each child, it states distribution, but it does not offer any protection, and it does not ensure that this money will actually be transferred to your children. Here is when the trust comes in as an instrument that facilitates this transaction, and it facilitates that everything happens smoothly for your children, right? I think the right time to set up the trust is today, again, so that you can be involved and you can see everything is functioning smoothly. I think your involvement is very crucial at each stage. However, I don't think you should take all the responsibility to yourself and say, okay, we'll involve the trustees later. I think the handover and the hand holding are 2 different things. And the hand holding needs to happen as long as possible. And in the end, when you feel that you're confident in your trustees, then you can do a complete handover. As trustees, as settlers, or as parents, you are the most important part of the trust. And I say this because as long as you're still alive, you can make changes to your trust, right? After you, what we recommend is that your trust becomes non-discretionary, which means no one can make changes to the trust after you have set down the guidelines. So once these guidelines are created, let's say if you think that you need to change the trustees, or you need to change the way decisions are being made, then you have to be involved with the trustees and see how this can happen, right? So I will move on to the last slide, which is some common mistakes that happen, right? This is about the trust, which is that sometimes you feel obligated to the person who's taking care of your child to name him as trustee, right? Again, there is something known as a letter of intent, which I'll quickly touch upon. A letter of intent is everything that you want to, you want your trustees to know about your child, but technically don't come under legal purview. So let's say if I want to say that my child might need XYZ medical facilities, for example, for my brother, he has epilepsy, and like these are things that someone must know as a guide, as a handbook to how my brother might require special assistance in sometimes. So for that, you create a letter of intent, which basically translates to a document that what is your intention? How would you want your child to be taken care of in case of, when you're not there? Also, one of the things that I want to talk about again, and I want to re-emphasize on this, is naming the settler as the trustee. I think it also completely defeats the purpose of creating your trust. As settlers, you do not have to transfer all your funds to the trust today, right? You can do this through your will after you. So you still remain in control and you retain the rights of how you want, discretion of how you want to manage your funds. But at the same time, you transfer something as small as 20,000 rupees into your trust today to start it. And then you make sure that your trustees understand how this is to be sort of managed. I also think there is a lot of emotional strain that comes with planning legal things. I think in India, especially, when we think about writing our will, we think that somehow we're just going to die now, right? Like, I think we need to change that common perception around how we look at writing our will. I think it's, I personally think that it's an instrument for a lot of financial freedom. I also think thinking about crisis, death, your child's future can be overwhelming. And sometimes involving the family might not be ready. So you both, you as a couple might be ready, but your parents might not be ready to make their will yet, right? Because they might think they have a lot of time. But the idea is to include everybody and make them understand why this is important when there's a child with special needs in the family. I also think, pushing this into the future only gives you short-term relief. At some point, you have to come back to this and focus. Sometimes you're caught up in the present, right? Sometimes there are so many things that you're dealing with day to day that you do not get the time to think about the future. And there are so many variables that sometimes you're not able to control. So for example, if there is a property that's disputed, or if you have to move cities, because your job has changed. So then these are all variables that you do not control, because of which financial planning might change. Again, I say that the idea is to create a base today that is flexible enough to account for all these changes. Talk to your advisors and say, these are some of the variables that might occur in the future, and account for them into your planning today. I'll give you an example. For my brother, we're not sure yet whether he's going to stay in a residential facility, whether he's going to be in a group home, or whether, he'll continue staying in my parents' house with a caretaker, right? So in this case, what we've done is, in the trust, we have built in these options. We have built in as to how these trustees can make these decisions in the future, depending on what the final outcome is. So again, even if you're not sure of everything of how things are going to pan out, you can build in these options into your trust. And I think trusting somebody with, our family members is really difficult, but I think the best we can do is help them understand what you would want from them, right? So that's it. I think uncomfortable questions today will make for a more comfortable tomorrow. And I think it's up to you, how quickly you plan, how well you plan to ensure for a smooth sailing future. All right. I'm going to look at the questions. I think there are a few, right?
Yes. We have some questions. I think I can request parents to raise their hand and ask question, because they were in between the presentation, so they can connect in a better way.
So I'll answer the last one, which says, how much time does it take to form a trust? So honestly, the documentation process takes, my guess would be it takes about 2 months. Simply because it depends on how fast you're able to, put all these variables together. As professionals, we're able to work at a fast pace, but sometimes during these discussions, you realize that there are some things that need to figure out. So I think 2 months on an average is it's a fair estimate.
Another question I can see, can grandparents apply for legal guardianship when the parents are in US?
Yes, you can apply, but again, I think in this case, the issue that I foresee is that, the grandparents and the child have a significant age difference. And in this case, then after the grandparents, then the legal guardianship will have to be transferred to somebody else in case the child is in India. So this could be a sibling, right? So that's something that you should figure out, that what is your objective of appointing the grandparents as legal guardian. But I'm sure they can apply, it shouldn't be an issue. Right. So someone's asked, can NRI child apply for UDID and caste? I think the documents that are required for applying for a UDID card are, your Aadhaar. So if go through the document list and see if you're able to access that. But again, if you're planning on coming back to India, I think this could be useful. If you're not planning on coming back to India, then I'm not sure how useful this is for your child in the first place, right? Can NRI sibling be on the trust? So yes and no. Yes, because if they're in a different country, will they actually be able to take up the actual physical responsibility of managing the trust? You could also think about whether you want to put them on the board of advisors. When we work with families, we make sure that we involve everybody that the parents want to involve one way or the other. So we structure the role in a way where, depending on their geography, depending on how much responsibility they can take with their present lives, it can be built in for sure.
Okay, I would like to take question from Ashwini. Yeah, please go
ahead. Hi Shreya. See, the trust that we build, right? And in that, if we keep contributing money, do we get any tax exemption or anything like that?
So, ma'am, that's something that I think we'll get into a deeper discussion with the CA present. There are different rules depending on different assets, and I think it's better to have the discussion in a one-on-one setting.
No, but I mean, is there a remote possibility that there can be a tax exemption?
Ma'am, I'm not the.
I'll answer that, Shreya.
Yeah.
So, Ashwini, no, this is a private trust.
Yes.
You're not contributing to a public trust, right? A private trust is your own money, which is going for your child. So, no, there's no tax exemption.
Okay.
Yeah. Ma'am, so in terms of property, so the way some exemptions work is if you gift your property to the trust, right, after you, then there is no stamp duty involved. So there are some benefits like that, but like Chitra said, there is no live tax exemption that you get.
Okay.
Yes.
Next, Jaspreet, you want to ask question? You raised your hand, and you have any question, Jaspreet?
Yeah, Harshali, basically, I'm extremely sorry. This was too important, and but I joined late. I'm extremely sorry for that. So the reason I lowered my hand is that my question is going to sound very stupid, that you probably have already answered it. In fact, Chitra ji ki is baat se mujhe laga, this private public trust, I think I've missed the whole bus.
Ma'am, please lijiye dobara, no problem.
I'll do the recording. I'll listen to the recording. The question here was that the last half an hour that I did pick up, we were talking about a family trust. I have a daughter with special needs. I get together my family members, people I trust, and I make a trust and a will. What if 2 or 3 parents wanted to do it together?
For 2 or 3 children, if you want to do it together, is that your question?
What if the parents wanted to get together? What if they weren't, like you spoke? What if they weren't?
Yes, ma'am, you can be trustees on another child's. So for example, if there are 2 families with children with special needs, or if just a family friend who wants to be on your trust as well as a trustee, you can make them a trustee on your trust. Like this can be any person you completely trust, with 100% confidence.
What I meant was, would the beneficiary, does it have to be one person?
Yes, ma'am. It's a very personal decision, but I highly, highly recommend that. And I don't suggest multiple beneficiaries on the same trust, simply because tomorrow, the resource allocation becomes very, very complicated. And for trustees to manage, so for example, if there are 2 families involved, right, and if one child goes through an emergency, and if there are funds available, you will utilize these funds for that child's emergency, right? The trustees are not going to use it. And let's say then the anticipation comes that will this still mean that for your child? So I think keeping money matters clear and separate. I think that's the best way to go about this.
That makes a lot of sense. So we could have individual trusts where we could trade trustees. I could be a trustee on their child's.
Yes, absolutely. And in that way, you motivate them, to take full responsibility because they know you're going to take full responsibility for them.
Fine. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Sure.
Hey, Shreya, Ashwini here again. I would like to get started with this process. I mean, his UDID thing, I'm just taking him to Nimans for evaluation, but maybe forming this trust and all. Whom should I get in touch with to get started? Like 3 people presented, right? Chitra, you, and Melin. So,
Ma'am, so for the trust, you can write an email to me, or my phone numbers also. My screen is shared.
and
So,
like in general, financial planning, I mean, I don't know anything to do with money. Most of the time, I just spend it.
so ma'am, Chitra is the best person to help you. They've also posted a link in the chat, which allows you to book a consultation with them.
Yeah.
So just do that. Just book a session with them.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Shreya?
Yes, Chitra, I can.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I was just saying for the previous one, that some families land up thinking that, they're very close and they're very thick and they can do this in terms of being trustees for each other. But as you rightly pointed out, if it is like, say, one family has 2 or 3 crores odd and the other family has 10 crores, how are you going to allocate it? Because it becomes very difficult if you pool in money.
Absolutely.
So you need to be very careful. I don't know what the earlier parent's name was. I just wanted to tell her that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that. Plus, I also think, it's one thing to take physical responsibility for somebody, and I think financial responsibility gets very, very complicated. It's just best to, keep these things very clear from the beginning. Someone has asked, what if trustees do not do their duties post our death? Well, so that's a tough one, right? There are 2 ways to approach this. You have a board of trustees, who oversee that the trustees are doing their responsibility. And I think if you have that doubt about that person today, then probably they're not the right choice for your trustees as well. The other way I look at this is that you form your trustees in a way where they can also keep a check on each other. So when a couple comes to me, I do not recommend that all family members from one side of the family become trustees, right? Because then there is still some sense of complacency that can occur. But what if there was somebody from the father's side, somebody from the mother's side, and then somebody who's very neutral? I also think that making father, son, mother, daughter, or same family again, maybe do not make trustees. So in this way, what happens is you can keep a counter check on trustees doing their duties as well. Trustee is supposed to be paid from the trust or no? So look, this is completely up to you. In my experience, most of the family members, I suggest you offer it to the trustees, right? You say, we'll give you some fixed amount, and that again, that's up to you what you want to pay them, if you want to pay them at all. And you offer it to them and say, hey, we would like to offer you this just as a gesture for taking up this responsibility. But in my experience, everyone has said no. The family members. And what we've advised the clients in the past, and again, this is all relative, is that you find other ways to motivate them. They can be financial, and we've come up with ideas and structures that do that aren't an annual compensation, but other ways of structuring rewards, sort of financial stability in the future that allows them to take care of this money. And what is the right profile of trustees, and can trustees be added at a later date? Right. So look, again, I think more than age, it's about how much responsibility they can take and how much they can manage and handle. Right. So somebody too young, I think they may not understand and may not have the maturity to take up a responsibility like this. And somebody very, very old, of course, there is an age, age factor is there. But you can always plan for something called as successor trustees. So let's say if today you're appointing your brothers or sisters who are the same age group as you, then there can be a mechanism which appoints your nieces, nephews in the future when they are ready to take up this responsibility. So to answer your question simply, yes, that trustees can be appointed at a later date, and you can also build in a mechanism for that into your trust today.
Ma'am, just read again.
Yeah.
Where I was coming from for the earlier question was, At the ground level, it very often happens that there are families where the financial means are there, but there isn't enough family left or in the future. What would you recommend there?
So, ma'am, again, I think there are two options. One is the one that you proposed, is that you, you look at members outside your family, but who are still very trustworthy. The other option is that you reach out to organizations like trusteeship companies, but they do charge a significant amount of money, right? Then you're basically using a percentage of your corpus to pay as management fee for the funds. But these options are still available, right? So, and if you want, we can get on a more detailed call one-on-one, and I can help you understand what your options are.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Suchu Savar, you want to ask a question? Your hand is raised.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, sir.
So,
Please.
yeah, I'm the husband. And
Okay.
thanks for a really good, informative session. I had a question, in fact, we posted on chat, which basically for most NRIs, we have like assets in two countries, India and wherever else one is living.
Yeah.
So what is a good solution? Should we have two trusts, one in India, one ultimately, like for later on?
So that's a complex question. It has a layered answer. It depends on several factors, whether, what are you planning on doing? Where is it that you're planning of your assets, right? So some of these solutions can be, you can come at these solutions through a will, but if there are significant amount of assets in both countries, then, maybe you do need to look at two trusts. How do these smoothly transition into one another is, a conversation that we can have one-on-one. Understand what are the kind of assets that you're looking at, what is the management involved for both of these, right? So then I think something can be sort of suggested in that case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now next question is from Kanti Chari. You please go ahead and ask.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Shreya, I have a question. Is it necessary to form a private trust, and can we not have a family arrangement if we have trust in our family members?
In
the long run, because one second, let me finish. I am told revoking this trust becomes very difficult. So then it could be difficult for the trustees or whoever is doing it, whoever is taking care of the child. If they want to revoke the trust after the beneficiary passes away, it could be difficult. I'm not aware of the legal part of this, but is it okay? Somebody was suggesting that have a family arrangement, and after you pass away, the will takes care of what money would go into the family arrangement.
Ma'am, in that case, then also why have a will? Because a will can be probated, a will can be challenged, and you might face the exact same issues that you just mentioned, right? So then in that case, why don't you tell a family member that these are my assets for you? If there's so all I'm trying to suggest is that trust does not offer structure, right? Like, and that I mean emotional trust does not offer structure to a family. In case tomorrow someone does not live up to their expectations, what is your child going to do? At least in a trust, there is a system that is enforced that makes sure that these tasks are taken care of. There are multiple people involved. There are checks and balances to this process. And of course, there are small, your trustees might face small hiccups in execution, but I don't think there is any part of this framework. Like my family's had a trust for many years now. I've known several of my clients who've run this trust, successfully without any transition issues. I do think it's the most secure and solidified mechanism available today for our families.
And one more thing, we can build it into the trust in case the trustees have to change in a later date. We can build that particular clause also into the trust. Is it?
Yes,
not only after us, we have A, B, C, D as trustees after us. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of 5 people instead of, maximum 5. I'm thinking. Okay. And out of the maximum 5, the parents are 2, we pass away. There are 3. And if they want to appoint and they say, no, I don't want to take up
Yes,
this
ma'am,
at a later.
you can recommend people that you would like to be appointed as future trustees.
So I can build it into the trust, stating that the trustees have the right to appoint. Any other person as trustee if the need arises, right? It can be done.
You have to do that, because in case, let's say that any of these trustees for whatever reason are not able to carry forward with their duties, then you have to equip them with what the next steps are.
Okay, thanks. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much, Shreya. I've already booked a one-on-one, so I have certain questions which I'll come at that time. Okay.
Yeah, I guess any rational question, then we can take. Personalized question can be answered in the one-on-one session. So any questions, Sujata Patnaik? Any general questions you have?
Hello.
Yes, Sujata.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to know, Shreya mentioned that, again, thank you, Shreya. Mentioned that there will be only 3 members in the trust, or trustees can be more than 3? Hello?
Ma'am, so ideal amount is, can you hear me?
Your voice is breaking. Just turn off your video.
Yeah. I turned it off now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, ma'am, trustees are definitely, the number 3 is not fixed. It's what's advisable, right? So, it makes the decision-making mechanism very, very clear. And again, it makes the operation, it divides responsibility between 3 people, it helps people take a majority vote. But there is no fixed, it doesn't say anywhere that you have to have 3 trustees.
It's more than 3. I want more than 3. That's why I'm asking.
Ma'am, but then, again, we'll have a discussion as to why you want more than 3, because agar kalko, one person, it becomes really difficult to see then who didn't do their job, right? So it's better to have very clearly defined rules. If genuinely, I've never seen there a need to be a larger trust than this, right? Because it's not large.
No, actually, I want to fix an appointment with you, so I just want to go for a trust for my granddaughter.
It's very simple. Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. Okay, thank you.
Okay, one question I can see in the chat box is that can international assets...
Try an email to me or message me. Yes. No worries.
Sorry, I can't hear you properly, Shreya.
Yeah, sorry. I think I'm not sure what is happening. There is just some network issue.
Okay. The question is, can international assets can be added in Indian trust?
Ma'am, again, I would recommend taking these questions on like a personal conversation.
Sure.
Yes.
Any, I would like to take the one last question I'll ask Sangeeta to say, and then we can maybe wrap up today's session. And in the meanwhile, I would request the participant to fill up the feedback form that I have posted in the chat box, that we get to know your feedback for today's webinar, please. Sangeeta, please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much. It's been a very informative session. I just wanted to understand the connection between a legal guardian and a trustee. So for example, in our case, our parents are aging and we are 3 sisters. So if one of us becomes a legal guardian, then is there a need or any benefit of having a trust, or should the legal guardian be on the trust? Like, how does it work?
Ma'am, so they're completely independent things, right? The trust is something that manages your family money. And a legal guardian is a person who can take, so he or she can make decisions as a representative of the person with disability. So to answer your question, your legal guardian can also be the trustee on your trust. So they don't have to be different roles. But as per sort of legal purview, there is no overlap in these, positions. What you do with your family trust or private trust is completely up to you. It's a personal affair. Whereas a legal guardian is something that would be recognized by law in case somebody needs to step up for your child.
Okay. So there's no real, probably not much benefit in having a trust. We could just manage the affairs between ourselves in that sense.
Ma'am, that's actually no, I'm not saying that at all. I think a trust is a very, very important instrument to have. It offers you and your family complete financial security and safeguarding your money and how it's handled, right? So a trust is a very, very important instrument. I think every family with a person with disabilities should have one.
Okay, and if one of the siblings, one of the sisters is overseas as a overseas person, can they be a guardian or can they be on the trust?
Ma'am, again, I think, someone asked this question and I think I have the same thing to say, that it depends whether they'll actually be able to take any responsibility if something happens in India, right? So then what's the point of appointing somebody who lives in another country? I'm not sure, whether operationally it makes a lot of sense. But I think what we could do in that case is appoint them as an advisor.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, I guess now we will wrap up today's session. Yes, Chitra ma'am and sir.
Sure thing, dear. Thank you so much for this, and I'm glad that everybody stayed till the end and asked all their questions.
Actually, just I want to thank first to Ashok Shah sir for introducing the team of MFA, and we are so happy to get so much of knowledge from three of you, Chitra ma'am, Milind sir, and Shreya ma'am. It was wonderful session. I mean, very in detail. We could see the amount of brainstorming and work we have to do for our kids, as I'm also a parent, so I get I mean get goosebumps after looking those
there is so much to be done. The whole thing that we're trying to tell is we've put a very structured process in place to help out all the families. All we want them to do is please give this time, prioritize what needs to be done for the child. It's not enough if you keep saying that, "Arey, kya hoga, kya hoga." You have to get down to doing this because we are responsible for our children. And we are there to show the way. Just please take this service that we are offering. Yeah.
Yes, true. Very true, ma'am. So parents do take advantage of this thing and do, just share your feedbacks and book your one-on-one session with, you will get the right guidance with MFA. So with this, anyone else you want to contribute something? And you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Achal. In fact, it is always insightful, to be a part of MFA. And every time that we attend their sessions, something or other comes more and more, that we do not know. And there is always an addition. And it's nice, that they have been able to reach out through our SNIC platform, to reach more and more parents, that we have connected with us. Because there is somewhere we feel there is so much of an awareness what is required. A lot of people keep asking what after us kind of a thing, and everyone feels there is still a lot of time to wait for the bill and all. But then unless and until everything is explained so clearly by Chitra ma'am as well as Shreya, that is when we feel that yes, this is the time, this is the right time to start basically.
Yes, true. Can't hear you, ma'am. Chitra, ma'am. Your voice is breaking.
Voice is breaking, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, some bad connection. I was saying it's great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said always great to see the Rodriguez family in action. Both the parents and the children. It's to see always.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As we say, like now, of the fraternity, for the fraternity, and by the fraternity. That is the slogan of Rodriguez family, we can say. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, they are always with us and for all the parents.
Yes.
Okay, so with this, I think we can wrap up today's session. Thank you everyone for attending this, and thank you so much again, MFA, to be a part of this and to guide us, and you are there for parents. Thank you so much. And bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Good night. Yeah, thank you.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.